Sorry, guys. Where we going?
Talk about how horrible this shit is.
Last night, from Mumbai, India, Impact Wrestling presented a show that will be remembered for centuries to come. It was a historic night of action, and everybody loved it, right? I don't understand how the show can be so terrible. Like, I don't know what happened. Maybe Billy Corgan was this wrestling mastermind. Because Impact Wrestling last year was, like, probably one of the best products out there. Well, compared to Raw and SmackDown, like, Raw and SmackDown are always going to do better when it comes to viewership and shit. But show-wise, Impact Wrestling wasn't bad at all. Now it's like we time traveled in 2017, and the show has grown horrendous ever since Jeff Jarrett has taken control. So Billy Corgan, obviously in his right mind, is this mastermind of pro wrestling, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Because he made Impact great again. Unlike what these people are trying to do right now, which is making Impact the worst product on human earth. The show opened up. Now keep in mind, this was the first ever wrestling show broadcast from India. So, because it's that, you want to have an opening that's different and like set out from the rest of the openings, right? Something to really get the India crowd excited. No, you just have Alberto El Patron and Lashley talk to each other about how much they don't like each other for 20 minutes. That's real interesting. That will keep the fans invested. This is the main event of the Slammiversary pay-per-view coming up. You know, El Patron is the most boring wrestler on planet Earth. I don't care what you do with him. He is Alberto Del Rio, and he will always be the most boring, uncharismatic waste of space in wrestling history. Lashley, on the other hand, is a dominant champion, but the problem with him is that you don't have time to put him on your show anymore because instead, you've got time to promote these GFW wannabes still trying to make a career for themselves here. So instead, your champion shows up every, 3 times every 2 months. Oh, well, it makes the champion more prestigious. No, it makes you forget who the champion is. You want to talk about prestigious? Brock Lesnar can get away with that. Lashley can't get away with that because he's actually contracted to show up more than that. And he's not. Because they're not making him show up more than that. Bullshit. So Daddy Pritchard comes out. He runs the show now apparently. And he says, Lashley, you're going to defend your title. And Patron, you're going to defend your title. Now, what this means is that they don't have any credible challengers for these two guys. So they're just going to make title matches to create false hype and buzz around the product. And they're going to put guys that don't deserve title shots in these matches. Because Impact Wrestling, if they do anything best, it's give title shots to people who don't deserve them. So then, in the opening match, we had Low Ki defending his X Division Championship there, John, against fucking Caleb Conley. Do you know what the issue is here? One, the X Division, this star-hungry division that's supposed to be about the young guys building themselves up, like Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, Marshe Rockett, Caleb Conley, all these other guys. Instead, the champion is Low Ki, who's been around for decades now. He's the champion now because he came back a month ago and he's a legit star. And he's facing off against Caleb Conley, who should be an uprising talent on the roster. But instead, he hasn't won a single TV match since ever debuting on this show. If he ever had a debut match at all. Not sure if he did or not. But regardless, he got a title shot for no reason. And so they have a competitive, oh, look at us, we're X Division stars match. And Low Ki eventually won. And then Sanjay Dutt comes out, who's also been around for decades now. He comes out to his India crowd, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, so he must have gotten a huge hometown pop, right? Wrong. Because India tradition, they state that once you tape in front of a soundstage, you don't get people to come in for free. You pay for most people to come watch the show and get the reaction they're supposed to get. You notice how people came out from the left and the right? The people who came out from the right got fucking cheered, and the people who came out from the left got booed. You know why that is? Because they're paying the audience to react how they want you to react. Stupid. Fucking bullshit. So Sanjay Dutt talks down Low Ki and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, cool, whatever. And so these two are going to have a matchup with the X Division Championship. Because if the X Division has revealed anything in the past 15 years of its history, it's that you can't carry the division with new stars. You got to call in old people who have been around for decades now to carry the division because Impact sucks at making new stars. So then Davey Richards, who's feuding with Eddie Edwards in a blood feud right now, he fought a jobber. Way to make Davey Richards look like a legit talent. Wow, I'm sure he can beat Eddie Edwards because he just beat this jobber you've never seen before on Impact. Amazing. And the worst part is, it was a competitive match for what I saw. It went for 3 minutes. Davey Richards should be killing him in 2 minutes. No, 2 minutes. That's nearly as long as the match went. A minute, I'll say. It should have been a minute long. This guy was a complete jobber. I don't know his name. Davey Richards took 3 minutes to kill him. And once he did, EC3 came out with a strap and started whipping him. Because EC3 also has to look strong. So he also has to beat up a jobber. And then James Storm comes out. Because James Storm is fighting EC3 for some reason. I'm sure they'll find a reason before the end of this feud. But right now, there's no reason I can find as to why these two are feuding. It's the old cowboy versus the one percenter. So then you know it's sad when the best part on your whole professional wrestling show features JB and Joseph Park. They had these fucking training videos of them preparing to face fucking Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner at Slammiversary, which in itself is fucking hilarious. Think about that. JB and Joseph Park are training to take on Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner. When you look at all the names involved in that, you really think, wow, that's hilarious to think about. That should be entertaining to watch. And it is entertaining to watch. I don't understand why fucking people hate this. It's the only story on Impact right now. The only storyline that I actually give a shit about. And it involves probably the worst people ever, minus Scott Steiner. But hell, I don't care. Because it's still a storyline, and it's still okay for what it is, and it's entertaining. God fuck. Here's the story. Josh Matthews isn't found of JB being the head announcer of Impact Wrestling, so he's done everything in his power to make sure he's off the announce team. JB calls in a lawyer known as Joseph Park to get him reinstated to the announce team, and Joseph Park, being the dickhead lawyer that he is, challenges Josh Matthews and a partner of his choosing to a match at Slammiversary. Josh Matthews shocks the world and gets Scott Steiner as his partner. And so now JB is unsure about facing these two at Slammiversary. So Joseph Park, the encouraging man he is, has to encourage JB to take on these evil forces of Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner by training him. Beautiful. Great. I'm glad we could write one story on this show. Now we could write the story revolving around people that actually matter. And, you know, not announcers, and Scott Steiner, and fucking... Scott Steiner's cool as shit, but come on now. Is he really going to show up after this? Probably not. And fucking Joseph Park, if we could revolve that around people who actually are on the show weekly, we may have something. And this also shows that the Hardy Boys were not responsible for all that broken brilliance bullshit. Because JB alone was able to make these segments some of the most entertaining segments on Impact in recent memory. That shows that JB was the true mastermind behind this broken brilliance shit. So as much as I love you, Matt Hardy, go fuck yourself. So then we had the very exciting Knockouts title match, I believe. It was Laurel Van Ness versus Rosemary. The issue here is, thus Laurel Van Ness is a great character. Her character is that she got left at the altar 5 months ago, and she's still in distraught after it. She's all fucking whacked up. She's been drinking. She's all kinds of batshit insane. From the wedding that happened 5 months ago, keep in fact. She's so fucking crazy that she's fucking beating the shit out of people for no reason. One target is Allie. Now, I guess Allie does make sense because Allie was the one that left Braxton Sutter, well, the one that went with Braxton Sutter at the altar. But, like, still, it's still great to see Laura Van Ness actually be an interesting character and not that princess bullshit they were going with before. So, the issue here is Rosemary hasn't been on TV in months. She showed up, like, 2 weeks ago for the first time ever. And before that, she didn't show up until, like, the last time she showed up before that was, like, when Decay died. So, your champion is now defending the title against Laura Van Ness, who I guess is a somewhat competitor, but she beat, like, one jobber to get this match. So, and then, like, the real feud is between Allie and Laura Van Ness, so I don't know why you're trying to throw Rosemary into it. You could have Rosemary doing something else, but oh well, whatever. If they actually, like, paid attention to the storyline, and they actually gave these women, like, they focused on each of them and gave them reasons for being involved in this bullshit, maybe I would actually care more, but I just don't, so that's that. Exciting main events. Fucking Bobby Lashley defended his world title against Moose, and Alberto El Patron defending his GFW Global Championship against Chris Adonis. Here's the issue with all this. The issue is there's no reason for these matches to be happening other than Bruce Pritchard saying, put on a match for these fans in India that we love so much. There's no other reason for it happening. They literally just decided to throw this out there. And the pay-per-view is 4 weeks away. They should be building up to the world title match pay-per-view. But instead, they're having both champions defend their titles. Not to mention, El Patron defended his title in the main event, which is stupid because that title is a GFW global title. One that had one former champion in Magnus. The guy who Alberto El Patron beat has had no legacy, has been defended in ballparks with 200 people, and now all of a sudden, we're supposed to treat that title like the main title to the World Heavyweight title of Impact. That's not how it works. In fact, that devalues the World Heavyweight title. Oh, you defended your title in front of a ballpark of 200 people? You can get a shot at our world title. It's stupid. And it's only a fucking golden ticket because Magnus said it was 2 weeks ago. Even though that's stupid because also 2 weeks ago, Karen Jarrett told him it was no golden ticket. But now they're continuing to treat it like it is a golden ticket. So what the fuck is it? So, El Patron fought Chris Adonis. Chris Adonis is the former Chris Masters, if you don't know. So you can imagine how boring this match was. It was stupid, gay. Lashley fought Moose. Boring. Nobody cared. Moose, at least as a challenger, made sense because he is the second top tier champion on the roster. And he actually looks like he can fight Lashley in a match that makes sense. But still, it made no sense for this happening. And I don't know why they did it. And then also on this very exciting show, which I forgot to talk about, Hornswoggle is feuding with Rockstar Spud. You can imagine the possibilities in that one.
We're screwed. We're dead.
So Impact Wrestling, they took this first ever, oh, we're an India show, look at us, and they made it probably one of the worst wrestling shows ever. They put title matches on that are pointless and have no reason for happening because they gave title shots to guys who have done nothing to earn them. They have stories that don't make sense, and if they are stories that don't make sense, like Hornswoggle and Rockstar Spud, nobody wants to watch them anyway. And then other than that, there is no story to follow. Like EC3 and James Storm, why are they feuding? Because they all of a sudden just fucking hate each other? Why? Is it personal for some reason? Because they both want the world title? Okay, everybody should want the world title. Or maybe everybody wants the GFW global title now. Fact is, the show is falling apart before your very eyes if you watch it. And it's just horrendous to watch. I don't understand how anybody can sit through this anymore. I sit through it just for you people. To sit here and review this shit. To get a video out for you guys. And I hope you enjoy listening to me talk about this. Because if you don't, I have no reason to fucking watch this anymore. Raw's just as bad. But like, God forbid. Somebody needs to fucking fix this show. Make Impact great again. Fucking save Impact. That's it. I don't know what else to talk about.